You flipped 50 homes in Pinellas County. One, how did you do 50? And two, what do you think the current state of the market is for flips right now?
Yeah, so there's always flips available out there. They're a little tougher to find right now. We had a lot of short sales and bank-owned properties that needed a ton of work. They were super easy back when we were doing it. So I had enough cash to do one flip, and I thought, this is such a deal, I can't pass it up. So I went to a hard money lender at 12% or something, and I did all the numbers. I'm like, it still makes sense. I don't really care what I'm paying as long as it makes sense and it's profitable in the end.
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome to Tampa Bay Unlocked, the podcast where we dive into the dynamic world of real estate and business in the vibrant Tampa Bay area. Join us as we sit down with top agents and industry leaders who share their insights, strategies, and stories of success. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, our interviews will unlock the secrets to thriving in one of Florida's hottest markets. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and motivated by the experts shaping the future of Tampa Bay. Tune in and let's unlock the wisdom of our next guest. I have Troy Walseth, one of my dearest, best mentors in this business. He has 4 offices with a team of 20 plus people, and he has done over $100 million in production in 1 year. Troy Walseth, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, that was a mouthful. I'm so excited. Anytime I get to hang out with you and dive into your brain is always a good time, because I've said it once, I'll say it again. I would not be where I'm at without you and the guidance when I started out in this business. So I want to thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, you and the entire team, you, Terry, Chase, Trish, Tasha, the list goes on and on and on. I'm incredibly grateful for all of you. So thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Yes, and I know agents, as they're tuning in, are going to be super excited to hear from you because, one, you come with so much experience, so much knowledge, and it seems like you always have an answer for everything.
Wow.
So,
pressure.
No pressure, but tell us like a little bit. Let's back up. Let's go to the start. Where was Troy when he first got his license, and how did you get started?
Okay, so when I first got my license, I was in Fargo, North Dakota, way up, ice cold tundra of Fargo, North Dakota. So
yeah, brutal.
I was in commission sales at Best Buy. Best Buy went non-commission completely. They were total commission, and I was offered a job for like $23,000 as a manager, and I said, I think I'll pass, and got into real estate.
So was Best Buy your first sales job?
Not really. I did tire sales.
Okay.
And I did
so sales, you've been in sales.
Pretty much, yeah. It was kind of my gig.
Okay, so from Best Buy, you lost your ability to make commission.
Right.
And then you're thinking, okay, what's my next move?
Right. So Terry, my wife, said, hey, maybe you should consider real estate. And I said, I don't know anything about houses. I've worked on them, but I don't know anything about selling. I think I'm going to sell cars. And so she bought me a real estate course for Christmas. And here we
She said,
are.
you're not doing car business.
Yeah.
So Terry is the thank.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Good job, Terry.
She
Good job.
is. I know, right?
Okay, so you take the course, but now you're brand new. You have a little bit of a sales background.
Right.
Where do you go? What's your training look like? How did you get your business off the ground?
So I went to a big company, Coldwell Banker, and I went there for the actual broker that was there. Jim Dybert was his name, and he was excellent. He had a proven track record of crushing it in real estate, and I wanted to follow that. So I went with him. I had 20 days straight of training, had my first sale within that 20 days of training, and
that was quick.
It was super detailed. Like he literally did an open house with us. He walked me through every single process, exactly what I should be doing. A lot of questions, asking the right questions, and so it was good. It was a good experience, and I have him to thank for a good jump start. So
yeah, that's awesome. But I do remember you sharing a story about them coming in and just giving you a phone book.
Yeah, well, that happened as well. Like he said, you got to start making some calls, and I said, who am I going to call? And he's like, start with the A's or start with the Z's. I don't care, but you'll wear that phone book out if you want to actually be successful.
Okay.
So, and I hated it. I don't know anybody that loves calling right now, but I hated it. But I knew it had to be done. So you just do what you have to do.
Yep.
And so you start at the A's or start at the Z's and go.
And so what was the mindset going into it at the time? Right? You had a little bit of a sales background, new into real estate. You have this great mentor, but what did you envision your future to look like? Was it just to hit a certain milestone? Did you have plans to grow a team that you have now? Was that even in the foresight? Like what was your mindset at that time?
Like, imagine that and this was forever ago, but I was making close to 40 grand a year, and that's what I wanted to replace. However, my average sales price in my first 3 years was probably 85,000. And so it was hard, and you just knew that you have that pressure every single day. So you wake up and you do what you have to do. Real quickly, like probably my third year in real estate, I hired an admin out of necessity. And that was before teams were even a thing. And so I did it wrong, of course. I hired a buyer's agent who was also an admin. They're a totally different seat on the bus, different personalities, different perfect traits, and I ruined them. So, and then I hired another one, did the same thing. Like, well, they just aren't trying, and found out it was me. It was like, you need to hire those spots separately. But I've never set out to build a team. I never set out to build anything big. I just kind of got on track. Consistency was my thing, and do the same things every single day and hire out of necessity, and that's what I've done. So
it was funny because we were just in our Power Up this morning, and you talked about how you did open houses 50 weeks out of 52 a year.
Yeah.
So I think there's something special in that, because of new agents that are listening and thinking about in the business, it's a grind in the beginning.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, everything you do is a grind. And I think the thing that happens with a lot of agents is they do something for 3 weeks or 30 days or even 6 weeks, and they're like, well, this isn't working. I talk to so many people that say, oh, you're a realtor. I tried real estate. It didn't work. And I'm like, oh, you probably didn't work, but but being real. But but no, like it's all about what you do consistently, and everything you do. You can choose 25 different pillars of lead generation to jumpstart your business. I chose 3, and I just did them every single day, and until I had an appointment, literally. And you can fine tune your skill. You get better and better and better at it, and then you learn, and then now you can watch a YouTube video. I didn't have that back then, so I think I was the first one in real estate with a cell phone. So
right.
Yeah.
So it was a trial and error period.
Yeah, it was.
What you were going through.
Yeah.
So you built a big business in Fargo, right? But then you got crazy and decided to come to Florida.
Yeah, it's cold in Fargo, so really cold. And I'm an outdoor person, active, loved snowmobiling and being outside, and it just wore on me over the years. And same with my wife. So we set a date. We said as soon as our daughter graduates from high school, we're out. Literally had a U-Haul backed up to the door when she graduated.
Wow.
So
Wow.
It was that fast. And, a lot of research. We ended up here. So
wasted no time, came down here and had to start completely over.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think there's a great story in that. I mean, to have a great business established, you have your network, you have past clients, you have all that, and now you come to a completely different market with totally different types of product, and beach houses, waterfront homes, all these types of things. Yeah. So walk us through that a little bit. Like, what was that transition like into a new market and starting from ground zero as if you were brand new again?
Yeah, it was scary because I came here and I had to make a living. I couldn't retire. I had a wife and a house, and we were lucky enough to be able to pay cash for our house when we got here, but we still had things. We didn't have a lot of cash and a lot of money after that. So I worked, I started at a small company out on the beaches. I didn't know what termites were. Waterfront properties versus inland properties, like I didn't have a clue. So I had a good mentor here. Didn't know a soul here when we arrived, and it's like that's scary enough. So you have to decide, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to get that first sale? So I had agents in my office that had listings. They didn't want to do open houses. I started doing open houses. That's what I did when I started my business.
So at this time, how many years had you been in the business when you started to do open houses again?
19.
So 19 years in the business, start over, you say open houses is what I'm going to go do.
Yeah.
So I'm just reiterating that for anyone who's listening to tell me they don't want to do open houses. Here's Troy, who had 19 years of experience, started over and said, I'm going to do open houses.
Yeah, and if I had to start over right now in a new area, or right now in our business, that's what I would do. There were 3 things on my plate that I decided that I had to do to be successful. Open houses. I needed every for sale by owner in a 5-mile radius to know my name, because I know the numbers, and 70% of them list with an agent within 6 weeks. And I circle prospected. So I called around other agents in my area's listings and talked to them. Something that sold in one day, had multiple offers, went over asking price. I'm going to call and say, look, there were 17 showings, meaning 17 buyers were interested in your area. Do you know of anybody else, any of your neighbors looking to sell? So those 3 things I did consistently every single day, and had to get really, really good at those 3 things. That was my comfort zone. That was what I...
Yeah. The intentionality there is incredible, and the way you're able to break that down and simplify. I know that there's people in the area that are looking to buy. Who else? Now you're just playing matchmaker.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. So we could look at, let's say, for instance, you had sold a listing in a neighborhood, and I look at your listing and I say, Ryan, how many showings did you have before that sold? 17. Okay. Now I know that there's 17 buyers that were interested enough to look at that property, and only one of them gets to buy it. So you call that neighborhood because they're obviously interested in the area enough to go take a look at it. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So that's your whole thing of looking to where's the motivation and expressing that motivation to sellers to let them know, hey, there's people that are looking, and you have the data to show it. That's awesome. And so that shows that the skills you acquired in Fargo, you can apply them, start over. It doesn't matter what market you're in. But you were humble enough.
Yeah.
You were humble enough to do it.
Yeah, sure. You do what you have to do to make a living. And it's like, do I love cold calling? No. But I know that it's a necessity. I can get in front of more people by doing it. So you just start doing it. So.
Well, I say that, Troy, because I have conversations with agents from other states that are thinking about moving here, and there's a little bit of a bravado or ego.
Yeah.
I'm super established in this area, and I want the...
Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
Do you want to be in Florida? Lose the ego.
Yep.
You can start over. Anybody can do it. It's not that hard. It's a simple recipe,
Yeah.
So,
well, you have the recipe for sure. Okay, so you got your feet off the ground. You're established in Florida. But you were not at Keller Williams at that time.
No. So interesting enough, I was at Remax, and for 6 years before I went to Keller Williams, I was getting recruited by team leaders. They literally sent me to family reunion and mega camp and some of these areas or these conventions so that I could learn. And I loved it. I started using the stuff. I started using their models. Then I had a team leader that was meeting with me pretty consistently while I was at Remax. And so she was teaching me things that I hadn't heard before. And I'm like... this is an alignment.
I know it's on the spot, but do you have an example of anything that you can remember that was significant that you took from family reunion or mega camp, or even sitting with that TL that you're like, I haven't heard that before. You're
so many
years
things
in the business, and now here's this new thing.
Team leader asked me, hey, just want to have a cup of coffee with you, pick your brain about your business. And I'm like, okay, she's going to recruit me, or she's trying to recruit me, whatever. But I went. I want to see what she has to say. Maybe I can give you some good ideas, she said, and maybe you can give me some. And it was great. So I sat down with her, and she said, so picked apart the business a little bit, what we were doing, and she said, so what's your lead gen model? And I'm like, my what? She said, lead generation. What is your criteria for your agents? What do they do every single day, to build their business? And I'm like, I don't know. And she said, well, do you have like a dialer? Do you call? And I'm like, no. I mean, I get on and I find numbers in tax record, and so real quickly she advanced. I mean, she took me light years ahead of where I was, because we were doing everything manually. And do I have a model for lead gen? No. What does that even mean? And so she sat me down and showed me, and we did a needs analysis of, where do you want to be next year? What do you want to do? And how do you get there? Do you have the people in place? Do you have the training in place? Do you have the lead gen in place? I'm like, wow, so many questions, but they were brilliant, honestly. That's an alignment for me. And I'm like, so, man, that's so cool that you're willing to share all this stuff. I don't have that in my company. Like, everybody is hide everything.
Why do you think that? What is that mentality? Because I try to express.
Scarcity.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yes.
There's so much business out there. I can tell you that Sandy Hartman was in the office that I got recruited to at Keller Williams, and she's one of the top agents in the area. She's been doing this for 40 years. Over time, we were doing a very similar amount of business. She was doing slightly more than me, but a very similar amount of business. Let's call it 30 million in volume back then. And I can tell you, in the same office, we never crossed paths once. Not on a listing, not on a buyer. She brought a buyer in on one of our properties and helped me get it to closing, but never competed.
I just saw someone post something the other day that competition is at the bottom and collaboration is at the top.
So true. Yeah, I love it.
It just, that's what it's all about. It's collaboration.
And I learned from her. Not only was she willing to give me all of her secrets, but she did a mastermind with me every other week for an hour in the morning. And we sat down and she said, so what are your struggles? What are you doing? And she'd ask me the same thing. And we went back and forth. And I took a lot more in the beginning than what I gave back. And by the end, I was showing her how to step out of the business and replace herself. And
yeah,
so it's good.
That is collaboration and mass. I mean, it's always good to be able to flow ideas, right, with somebody. And I think that's something that's really important in this business, because we're all in our separate silos, essentially, right? And so, but we're all looking to achieve similar things. Some of us. And with that, so you've mastered, and I'm going to use that word, expansion. And having a larger team in place, right? And 20 plus people that are now attached to you and look to you for guidance and mentorship. What was that transition like for you? I know you said early, you went and you hired an admin / buyer's agent. Yeah. But now at this scale to have 20 plus people, what was that transition like for you?
Well, so when I came here, I started doing what I need to do. And within 5 months, we got to the end of the year. So I got licensed in August, the first year I was here. And by the end of the year, I felt I needed an assistant of some kind to take the paperwork side of it off my plate, the marketing, all the stuff that I was doing that was not a money-making task. So I hired her. And it was a game changer. She was the right person. She's still an agent here now. But I hired her as an admin at that time. And she was excellent. It's like, here's the properties I set up for your showings. Here's a bottled water. You've got to be here at 4 o'clock and literally out the door and on to the next appointment. So very quickly I found that I could only have maybe 5 A or A plus buyers with me at any given time that I was dealing with, because Monday you're showing a bunch of homes, Tuesday you're showing to another buyer, Wednesday you're showing another buyer. Then on Thursday, buyer A on Monday wants to see the house again, and so you run ragged. So I thought the only way I'm going to be able to, and these listings are so easy once you get them listed, basically you're following up with the agents. There's things that you need to do, but you can do most of it by phone. You're not running all over. So I figured I needed to hire a buyer's agent to take some of the lower end buyers off my plate, and that's what I did, again, by necessity. By the end of that year, I had hired 2 buyer's agents, started the next year a second admin, then a third buyer's agent, and then I was left to do just listing side stuff.
And that was different structure than what you had in Fargo.
Way different, yeah.
So
I had a couple people in Fargo at any given time. Like I had an admin for a short period of time, a real admin, but that wasn't a buyer's agent, and I had an actual additional agent helping me out. I thought in my head, well, I want to help. I want to step away from open houses at some point, so I'm going to have them do open houses, create leads. I'll create the listings, they create the leads for the team, and it wasn't all wrong, but it's just the structure and the way that we did it.
Yeah. So now you have a model to follow that was given to you.
Well, there's a written model.
Yeah.
It's a simple recipe if you just follow it.
Yeah, referring to the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the Red Book. If you haven't read it yet, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that in Fargo before I left, and I thought, this is a joke, because who really can net $1 million selling real estate? There's no way. There's no possible way. Well, you find out and you mastermind with these people who have done it over and over and over and over. It's just the recipes in the book.
Yes.
So coming here was my chance to start over and do things correctly. And I tried to follow that book, but I thought I was smarter. And so every time I veered off, I had to back up, put the car in reverse, back up, start over, hire a different person or whatever. And it turns out, man, if you just follow that recipe, it's an old recipe that is still perfect.
Some of the best recipes are the classic, right? Grandma got the best cookies for a reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So being so not only that, now you're a part of Gary's top 100.
Yeah.
And you're talking about masterminding, being at that level. What's the conversation like in a room when you're with those people?
It's so different. I was part of expansion masterminds first with Gary, and when expansion was a new thing, nobody knew how to do it, but there was 85 of us, I think, in a room.
Just for, could you give a 20-second context of what expansion is?
Yeah, so expansion is, look, you get a team that you think is semi-perfected, or you've got it down, and you can take that recipe and park it somewhere else. You can take it and open another team in Colorado, or open a team over here, or start a team in another area. You figure out your model, and you've got proof of concept where you're at, then you can go crazy, because then it's duplicable. Mm-hmm. So you can duplicate it over here, over here, over here. So that's what expansion is. And it was a new thing at the time that nobody knew anything about. So I got to sit in a room with 85 people at the time. Now there's thousands of people expanding, and even in other companies. But 85 people in a room that were all trying to figure it out, and we were giving each other ideas. And I had a great model that I put up on a board there, and a couple of the big shot agents took it and used it. And now they're putting their models up on the board, and I'm like, that's brilliant. I'm going to take it. And
so real collaboration at a very high level.
It was.
Yeah.
And Gary was just like, look, we're going to pick everybody apart up here. We're going to talk about everything. And I want you guys to take the best practices and share them. This is what's going to help you grow. It's why we do this. So fast forward, there's no more masterminds for expansion, but there's a top 100. And a lot of the people in that room are expanding. So it's kind of a collaboration now. He's got the top 100 single agents and the top 100 teams in that room. So probably quarterly, we go to Austin and sit in this room, and it's kind of the same thing, but it's a different conversation now. It's not about, what your lead gen process is. It's more about how do you scale this? How do you give back? How do you grow into other areas? It's just a whole different conversation.
Types of business stacking and other things that you can layer on top.
Yeah.
That's really cool, and it's fun to, even on this conversation, to follow the journey of where you're at from Best Buy all the way to being in Gary's top 100. Right. What a journey, and something in there to learn for everybody. And with that earlier, I had a direction, in my mind. There's these roads I want to walk down. And gate just slammed shut. I can't remember the one I was thinking about. So but other than when you're doing real estate, let's just talk about fun for a second. And then,
Yeah.
I remembered. Hold on. Because I want to talk about cars.
Rewind.
I want to talk about, that's
Yeah.
easy though. We
Yeah.
can talk about cars.
Yeah.
You flipped 50 homes in Pinellas County. And so anyone listening right now that's thinking about that has done it before or not at that level, one, how did you do 50? And two, what do you think the current state of the market is for flips right now?
Yeah, so there's always flips available out there. They're a little tougher to find right now. We had a lot of short sales and bank-owned properties that needed a ton of work. They were super easy back when we were doing it. So I had enough cash to do one flip, and I thought, this is such a deal, I can't pass it up. So I went to a hard money lender at 12% or something, and I did all the numbers. I'm like, it still makes sense. I don't really care what I'm paying as long as it makes sense and it's profitable in the end. So that led me to a time where I could actually do, more than one at a time. And so we maybe had an investor in with us. We had a hard money lender. I had a cash deal or two cash deals, and it allowed us to do several at one time. So it definitely took away from real estate.
That's what I was just going to ask you. How did you manage the time to run multiple projects and the crew and build your business in a new area?
So when I was starting in real estate, it was a quicker point because I could have cash in like 90 days. From the time I buy the property till the time it was in the hands of a new buyer was about 120 days.
Oh, wow.
And so we could buy it, remodel it, and have a chunk of cash almost immediately. And so I focused some time on that. In fact, I did some of the work on them. I did it nights, weekends, and literally worked 24/7 because I also had to build my real estate business because that for longevity was what I really needed to do. So we started in, and the tolls just kept. I had one, and then I had three, and then I had five. Pretty soon, I hired a crew, so I could literally. I had a guy named Craig that I could purchase the property, and about a week before closing, he was setting up, deliver the dumpster, do this, do this, do this, and I'd hand him the keys the day of closing. He'd already had started the behind-the-scenes process, and I didn't even have to show up. He knew what cabinets we put in. He knew what flooring we put in. We kind of did all the same stuff. We had a little storage shed full of extra parts and pieces of cabinets and stuff that we did. We did them top-notch. They were all granite tops, custom cabinets, or really nice box cabinets, same flooring. And I could trust him. He knew exactly what I wanted on these properties over time. So literally close them, hand him the key, and I'm back to
So I'm hearing there is that you had an incredible system.
You have to.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're going to do it high level, you got to have a system.
So you took some time, and that probably helped you learn the area and the market and what was going on, right? These flips. And one thing I learned from you, I think, is a valuable lesson. You said anytime you walked into a listing appointment, first question to ask is, should I buy this house?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to have a couple different views. Like, first of all, what does your seller want? Do they want the showings? Do they want are they after top dollar? Because oddly enough, not everybody is. Some people just want a very easy transaction. And so I could give them two options now. I could say, we can put it on the market and we can net you about this amount, and you're going to have agents showing it. You're going to have inspections, things like that. If you don't mind, that's what's going to take you to top dollar. If you want an easy process, then we'll write you a cash offer. We'll close it in 15 to 60 days. You pick, and there's no commissions. There's nothing. We'll pay your closing fees. We'll pay everything. So, and here's about what you net. And it's going to be a lot lower, obviously. Some people, maybe 1 in 10, would choose that lower one. So I just want it simple. We just want out. We don't want all the showings. We don't want all the hassles. So we found a lot of our properties doing that. So.
And sometimes houses are just not in the condition to go on market, right?
No, they're not. Like if they're not financeable,
right.
If they don't have the money to do it. So we had a system even to put a third string. We were loaning any seller up to $10,000, and we still do it. Up to $10,000 to update their house. We want to be involved in that. We want to pick it. It has to stay on the market till it sells, or they're going to owe the money back. But we don't charge them for it. We'll loan them $10,000 to improve the value of their house to get more money, but we want to be more in charge of that. So we'll say, look, I'll loan you 10 grand. we're going to update your electrical panel, and we're going to do these 3 things that'll probably gain you 22 to 25,000. That's going in your pocket. We just need the 10 grand back.
Right.
And
what a great service to offer. I
Yeah.
mean, it opened my eyes when walking to a house. It's not just always about, can I put this on the market and sell it,
Right.
And to have different options
Right.
available and the resources and people to do it, because you had to establish a team of contractors and all the
You do.
everything
Yeah.
else that you
Yeah.
could trust.
The right ones that you knew that would show up.
Yeah,
So,
it's a whole
So,
nother beast. And so that helped establish you. The team grew. You're now doing phenomenal things. And now in your spare time, Troy, you like to have fun with some cars, yeah?
I do. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Has that been a resource? Because I find, as I'm with agents, I'm like, find a way to do something you like that's also going to put you around the people that you want to work with.
yeah.
And has that been some thing for you?
Yeah, it is. Like I'm meeting a whole different crowd of people now. So I've always been into cars. It's like either racing or, something.
Yeah.
Never been a huge car show fan. I don't show, my stuff, but I like to run them on tracks. I like to, go on rallies where we go cross country, different states, things like that. It's a lot of fun. So puts you with a whole different crowd of people.
Yeah.
And it's fun. So
I like that, because no matter what I just was meeting with a gentleman earlier today, and his thing was like ice hockey, and he's like, ice hockey's huge in our area. I'm like, dude, that's your network right there.
Right there.
Like
Yeah.
tap into that.
Yeah.
Love on those people, and then you get to work with other like-minded people that are like you. So cars, volleyball, whatever it is, I find that to be helpful for people, in their business, because it keeps life a little more fun, right?
Right. Yep. It does.
How do you manage that? Because one of the conversation we had this morning was about work-life balance, and stress is a real thing. Burnout is a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't think it's talked about enough, because there's this hustle culture of just work to 12 hours, 7 days a week. Why do you need a break?
Yep.
But burnout happens.
Yeah,
Stress
it does.
happens.
It
And
does.
how have you dealt with that over the years?
Yeah, so leverage. That's how I deal with it. Like I honestly think if you're a new agent in this business, there is no life balance, work-life balance. It's BS in my eyes. If you want to build something big, you are going to have to work your full tail off for 3 years. You will have your magic 3rd year if you're doing everything right. So do what you need to do it consistently. Find your areas of lead gen and do it at the highest level you possibly can. I've been doing this 31 years. I'm still learning every single day. I sat in a class with you this morning, Power Up, and we learned something. Probably I did.
Yeah, I did.
Doug is brilliant.
Yep.
So it's like I can still learn. I spend probably 25 to 30,000 a year learning right now, going to events, going to different things. But like a work-life balance in the beginning, I don't think can exist to buy. I mean, people are going to say I'm wrong, and that's fine. But for me, it was like, you need to do the same thing every single day. I put in 12-hour days. That's not for everybody. I work 6 days a week, 12-hour days. Now, when I got to my magic 3rd year, because I did, now I can choose. I'm not ever going to work a Saturday again. I'm taking that off. That's my day. I might even back off from open houses, but I better find something to replace that. Maybe it's talking to my past clients, maybe it's whatever. So over time, you can scale that and hire the proper people, not just so you can kick back on the couch, but so you can do the money-making activities and do them at a high level where maybe you're only working 4, 5, 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day, or something like that instead.
Staying in your 20%, the 80-20 principle.
That's what it is. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And do it at a high level. Right now, I don't work weekends. I'm usually gone. I come in at 8:30, and just so I can try to help out our office, and I'm there until about 3 o'clock. And I leave, and I don't work weekends. So
31 years into the business, I think you deserve that. But you
deserve it or not, it's what I do. It's a choice that I made.
Yeah,
Like,
well, but
there's people that'll grind it out,
Yeah.
and I would burn out. That's not a life that I want.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
No, I don't think it's smart to do that. But there's only one life, right?
Yeah,
And
right.
That's all we got. So with the NAR changes that are happening, I mean, it's August 1st, 2024, in case you're listening to this in the future. There's some shift changing in the business.
Sure.
What's your crystal ball, and if you're predicting, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you think this shapes our industry? What do you see happening with the agents, with the industry, with the changes that are here?
It could go a couple different ways. So it could go a lot of different ways. I think there's two things. I think not a whole lot is going to change, just the way that we do business, and it's going to be a learning curve for a lot of people. But if you understand that, like, 40 of the other states in the U.S. are already doing most of this. They're like in Fargo, North Dakota, Minnesota. I didn't take a buyer out without explaining agency. First initial contact, we're talking about being a buyer's agent, being a seller's agent, we have to talk, they have to sign a form that tells the world that we've talked about it. So a lot of other states are already doing that. Now, come August 6th, every buyer in Florida and every other state, before they look at a home, is going to have to sign some sort of a BBA. It can be for a day, it can be for that house, it can be for 6 months, whatever. That's negotiable, always has been, but now it has to be done. So it's going to be a learning curve for agents, it's going to be a learning curve for buyers. Imagine on August 6th when we tell them, if we haven't already, our team has already started doing them, but imagine telling a buyer that's been looking at houses with other agents all week, and you say, hey, I can't take you out without signing something. Well, my other agent did, so it's going to be a conversation. So I think this could go a couple different ways. Like in the future, maybe there's no payout to buyer's agents, and maybe the buyers are going to have to foot the bill to hire an agent, or nothing really changes. It's still the most efficient way to do business, to have a seller pay a commission and the agent split it how they feel necessary, with disclosing it to that seller. Now everything needs to be, it always did need to be disclosed, but now the sellers have an option to pay half of it or none of it. Or what's really weird is you back up to, I'm going to go way back, but go back up to the 40s and 50s. Agents actually, I would list a house, and if buyers wanted to see that house, they would come and talk to me. And if they wanted to see the houses you listed, they would come and talk to you. And back then, in the 60s, fast forward, I might have come to you and said, hey, this is kind of dumb. I know your relatives are coming to me because I have the house listed. Do you want to just start showing my properties and I'll split it with you? I'll split my commission with you evenly. And we created MLS. Mm-hmm. So now sellers are saying, well, we're having to pay these astronomical commissions for both sides. It's always been that way. It always has. Nothing has changed. And I think it's a lack of understanding how it worked from day one. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just this is the most efficient way to do it. So it's a little weird that a seller is paying a buyer's agent to negotiate against them. Mm-hmm. That is a little bit odd, and they're, but in the end, the seller is really paying me as the agent X percentage, and I was offering out
a percentage
to another agent.
To entice.
Now, yes, they're bringing in a buyer and trying to negotiate against us, but I'm here for that seller. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, it's going to be curious to see how this all plays out when the dust settles. Yeah. I know we have Murray, and we're staying conservative on making sure that we're following everything black and white. Correct. He's not letting us veer into any gray area. Yeah. So I'm curious to see how the industry reacts as a whole in our area with agents staying in the business. I know the top 20% will continue to do. They'll probably just do better, right? They'll just do more.
Go list more homes. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yes.
Don't worry about the buyers.
I just because I want to put it on air. Recently Lori Famighetti passed away, and we had our celebration of life here on Friday, and Rachel Sartain was here, Tenpenny, and she said that Lori's famous line was, "Oh, you need to go do that thing? Well, just go sell another house. Yeah. Sell another house. Sell another house." And I think that
I love it.
That advice everyone, it can just be
Yeah,
echoed, right?
yeah.
Just
Sell another house.
sell-
You can do whatever you want. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
Just go sell another
Sell
house.
another house. So Laura, you're with
Yep,
us. Appreciate you.
Yep.
And with that advice. But I think you're right. I think I don't think much changes.
Yeah.
I don't see a world where buyers are having to pay all their commission and
Yeah, it's going to really hurt them, and I think we're going to find that out in a hurry.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Well, I think
do you finance it? Do you have it? Do you like?
Well, I think top agents aren't going to let their they're going to help explain to the sellers the benefit of
Yeah.
paying. And so it's only going to be the agent who couldn't have the conversation that the house gets up and isn't offering compensation out to somebody.
Yeah.
And then when that house, not to say it won't sell, but it's going to be a lot harder.
Think about that. I sign a buyer's contract with you to show you homes. I take you out and I show you 4 homes and you pick one. And I tell you, that's your favorite home. Understand that the seller is unwilling to pay a buyer's agent commission. So do you still want to buy that? Because in this case, you would have to pay me. And they're like, nope, I don't want it. Or it might be up front. It may be John home seller is unwilling to pay a commission on that house. Do you still want to see it? No, move on to the ones that are paying. You're going to have some of that. And it's like sellers feel pressured into paying these commissions. Well, do you want everybody to show it, or do you? It's just it is what it is. So,
well, who's willing to work for free?
Right.
I mean, I'm not. I want to be able to make money so I can give to a nonprofit. I don't want to be the nonprofit.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And so buyer comes directly to the listing agent. Does the listing agent now want to work with the lender, work with everybody, work with that buyer, and do it for free? No.
Yeah. No, I think
they're
that's
going to get charged something. They just are. So,
yeah, and for anyone who's thinking that the fees are too high, I would say come into our industry and you come sell a house and tell me what you think it's worth.
Yeah, well, that's the public opinion. Real estate agents are way overpaid. Look at the fancy cars they drive. Look at they have it so easy. They have no idea. We all have to drink in order to. No, it's like high blood pressure pills, right? It's like. And everybody thinks, well, they're getting a X% commission. Well, no, we're not. We're splitting that with another agent. Then we're taking that back to our brokerage. The brokerage gets a portion. We have marketing. We have to live. We have to pay for your photography. We have to do this. And we do most of that up front without even knowing if the property is
with no guarantee.
So when it boils down to it, the average income of an agent is probably like $30,000 or something, if even that. So
just because the amount of people that are in it, and it's so the fallout rate being 80% plus, probably closer to 90. Right. It's not easy. It's not easy. So it'll be interesting to see how this falls out. Fun that we're talking about this on August 1st, and we're only a few days away.
Yeah, like 5 days away.
Right. Yeah. Yes, and it'll be fun. We have mega agent camp coming up. When does this come out? 4 weeks. So this is going to be published
right
after Mega Camp. So this is pre-recorded. So curious to see, the changes haven't happened yet, but when you're hearing this, we'll be on the other side of all the changes happening.
Right.
Yeah, I have probably a lot more I could ask you, Troy, but we've been going here for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Here, I had one more question for
you.
you. This is a little more just on you and personal because I'm curious. What's next?
Wow. I think that's up to my agents, honestly. So I'm at the point now, I'm not ready to step away yet, but I want to grow this as big as they want to grow it. So we have a leadership staff in place now. We meet every Friday, and I'm helping them, mentor them with the direction of the team, but they're making the decisions now. So it'll be their team. So the Walseth team will continue to grow, likely because there's a couple of them that say, we should go to Tampa next, we should do this next, we should do this next. And they're hiring. I have agents that I haven't met on my team, and it's because I've got the right people in place. Mm-hmm. So they're weeding me out. I don't know if that's purposely or no, it was literally my plan.
Yeah.
So, So what's next for me? I don't know. I won't use the word retire because I don't see that happening. I think retirement is doing what you want to do every single day. And I feel like I already do that. So I don't want to leave. I'm like, I'll stay out of it if they want me to. But I think as a mentor, I'm going to show up every day at the office probably. I'll grow other businesses that are related to real estate that'll help them. And I'll either stay out of the way or I'll have my nose in it. Either way. Either way, I don't want it to fail.
Right,
so.
right. Well, great answer, and it was your answer. So whatever, right? There was no right or wrong. And Troy, I just appreciate you more than you know, and I'm sure everyone listening can see why. I mean, your years of experience, your wisdom, your empathy, your way you show up for people is just remarkable. And I just really appreciate you and everything you've done for myself and the community, and the more that you will do and continue to share. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if people are still with us, and I know what the true fans are, what's one word they could comment below so we know that they're still here?
One word, comment below.
Yes. They had to listen this far to get the secret code.
All right. So consistency.
Consistency. That was fantastic. Consistency. Let us know that you're here. Comment consistency. I don't even know if I can spell that.
I don't know if I can. But honestly, that's what'll do it. I'd rather have somebody consistent in my world than the greatest salesman alive.
Absolutely.
I'll take the consistency all day long.
Absolutely. Show up, do the work. I would listen to this one 2 times over. Thank you, Troy. Appreciate you, everything you do. If anyone's listening and they would like to get in touch with you, what's the best way? Should they send a postcard, send a smoke signal? Is there a website they can go to?
Google me. My number is everywhere.
Okay.
So they can reach out to me directly.
Okay.
Cell phone, email, text, whatever.
Perfect. You heard it here, folks.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. Appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment consistency, and share with a friend, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.